Hi friends, I didn't hear that. Thanks a lot guys, thank you very much. And please close your eyes. So please settle down. And party we'll have on Children's Day rather than Teachers' Day. है ना? That will be more appropriate. Dhanyavad. Moving on, friends, to a new and another important stratification, an important unit, which is social stratification. Okay? We have completed the unit on religion. Now we are moving on to क्यों नहीं आया? क्या करूं? अच्छा, one sec. I know कैसे आएगा वो. हाँ, social stratification and mobility. Social stratification and mobility. Very roughly, what do you understand by this term, social stratification? At a very basic, divisions in the society or levels in the society? Bilkul. Yes, or in simple bhasha, what we call hierarchy or inequality. The prevalence of a hierarchy or inequality in society. Stratification is roughly put that. Right? What it is very specifically in some detailed manner we will discuss as we proceed. But very roughly we will be discussing about inequality or hierarchy in society. ठीक? And what do you understand again mota moti by the word mobility? Movement from one strata to another or one level of the hierarchy to another is what we call social mobility, right? In this unit on social stratification, we will be discussing the following topics, which is our UPSC syllabus. Firstly, we'll be discussing various theories of social stratification. Which theories? You should know it by now. Functional theory, Marxist theory, Weberian theory. Very good. नहीं बस तीन बहुत. ठीक है? These are what is mentioned in the syllabus. Functional, Marxist and Weberian theories of stratification. Then we will discuss various dimensions of social stratification. Dimensions matlab in which way does stratification express itself or manifest itself? In other words, can you think of any stratification systems or any hierarchies which exist in society? Such as caste system. Bilkul. Caste is a system of social stratification. Right? मतलब you have hierarchically arranged social groups. You have Brahmins and Kshatriyas, Vaishya and Shudra. To be sure, these four are Varna categories and not castes. And in each of these Varna categories, there are several castes which are present. Are you with me? For example, I belong to Baniya caste, which lies in the Vaishya Varna. Okay? You may have heard of Rajputs. It's a caste which belongs to the Kshatriya Varna. Okay? And so there are several castes arranged in a hierarchical fashion. Caste is a classic example or manifestation of a stratification system. Caste, friends, is a stratification system which is uniquely present in Indian society. Can you tell me any stratification system or any structured inequality in society which is present in all societies? Class. Very good. Also gender. Now, when we say class as a system of stratification, meaning what? In every society you would have upper class, middle class, lower class. Then we'll talk of gender as a basis of stratification. Again, as we had discussed while talking about patriarchy, across societies, men dominate over women. Yes or no? So gender is another universal basis of stratification. Okay? So we will be discussing various dimensions of social stratification, such as social stratification based on class, status, gender, ethnicity and race. Social stratification based on class, status, gender, ethnicity and race. Why are we not discussing caste stratification? Because we will discuss it sufficiently in paper 2. We will also not discuss gender as a system of stratification. Why? We have already discussed it at length already. जब patriarchy पढ़ा था, क्या है वो? We were discussing how men dominate over women in various spheres, whether it is family, whether it is religion, whether it is the economy. Yes or no? We have discussed it already. We've covered it already. So that these we will not do again. Okay? मतलब this gender stratification we will not do again. Or patriarchy. While caste as a basis of stratification will be covered extensively in paper 2. So we will discuss the others. Then we will discuss social mobility. Wherein we will discuss what are open and closed systems. Open and closed systems. We will discuss types of social mobility. Types of social mobility. And then we'll discuss various sources and causes of mobility. Social mobility लिखा है यहाँ पे, and I'm discussing within it what we will study: open and closed systems, types of mobility, sources and causes of mobility. ठीक? Then we will discuss various related concepts. Various related concepts. Concepts like equality, inequality, hierarchy, poverty, deprivation, and exclusion. ठीक है? This is what we will discuss. ठीक है? This is our agenda in the unit on social stratification. But before we get going with the theories, right, I just want to discuss with you an overall understanding, okay, that to begin with, what is social stratification? I'll dictate also. Okay? Now, when you say it is a hierarchy or there is layering, yes or no? In other words, groups are arranged in a vertical fashion. There are some social groups which are above others. Right? This is what it means. It's a hierarchy of what? For example, when you say caste is a form of stratification, or begin with class. Class is a hierarchy of what? When you say upper class are above, the middle class who are above, the lower class, they are above in what terms? In terms of the amount of money they possess. Simply. It's a hierarchy of wealth. Yeah, money. Broadly, class is a hierarchy of wealth, money, income. Yes or no? Yeah, property. Clear? So when we say class is a hierarchy, we mean upper class have more money, more income, more property than those below. Clear? When you say caste is a system of stratification, it is a hierarchy of what? What is it a hierarchy of? In other words, Brahmins are superior to Kshatriyas, who are superior to Vaishya, who are superior to Shudra. Superior in terms of what? What do Brahmins have more than the Kshatriyas and so on? Is it a hierarchy of knowledge? It is a hierarchy of respect, which is accorded to these categories by the society. It's a hierarchy of respect or dignity or prestige, which is associated with that social position. In other words, Brahmins have or command greater respect than Kshatriyas, than Vaishya, than Shudras. Clear? Now tell me, friends, is it only, say, class, is it only or purely a hierarchy of wealth? When we say social stratification, there are three basic things which members of a strata may possess more than the lower strata. Namely, power, prestige, and paisa. Power, prestige, and paisa. Yeah, money. Okay? So when you say class is a hierarchy of money या पैसा, is it only of पैसा? बताओ ना logically सोच के. Or do our upper class also, do they command greater respect or prestige in the society than lower classes? Yes or no? By and large, it is also a hierarchy of prestige and power. मतलब अमीर लोगों की समाज में ज्यादा इज्जत होती है than not so अमीर people. Does Mukesh Ambani only have more money than me? Or does he also enjoy greater power than you and I? Clearly, he also enjoys far greater power than you or I. Yes or no? So it's also a hierarchy of prestige and power. The caste system, is it only a hierarchy of prestige? Is it only a hierarchy of prestige? You're saying yes? In pre-modern society, a traditional Indian society, the three did go together. In other words, the higher castes not only enjoyed greater prestige, but also greater wealth and power than the lower castes. But with modernization, a lot of changes have taken place and the situation has become far more complex. Are you with me? Point is, friends, the three dimensions of stratification, power, prestige and paisa, may or may not go together. May or may not go together. Lot of times people will think that the rich tend to be more powerful and also enjoy greater prestige in society than the middle class or the poor. But not necessarily so. You may have a sadhu who is a mendicant. He is a beggar. He survives on alms. But does he command respect in the society? Say our Samaj. Yes, people will bow down at the feet of the sadhu. Yes or no? People far richer from the middle class and the upper classes will bow down at the feet of the sadhu sant. Yes or no? Can it also happen that the rich do not command prestige? Is that possible? If I may take a crude example, say a rich prostitute. Okay? She is wealthy, but does she command respect in the society? No. Right? So that is that. Okay? But in general, we contend that stratification system is a hierarchy on these three parameters of wealth, power and prestige. Okay? They may or may not be overlapping is another matter. Now tell me, friends, what is more morally desirable in society, equality ya inequality? Let me just elaborate on the question. When we say, and I'm not talking about, from a sociological point of view. So keep aside your sociological hats and think only as an ordinary person. Okay? I'm not asking you whether it is feasible or not, possible or not. I'm not asking whether it is anything else except for morally desirable or preferable. Which kind of a state is preferable? Should in the society exist grave inequalities? That, for instance, you have, say in our society, you have some people who are billionaires and multi-billionaires. Yes or no? You have people literally rolling in wealth. Have be-intaha paisa. Like Ambanis and Adanis and the Tatas. Right? Amongst the richest persons in the world. And then you also have in the same society millions of people who go to bed hungry, who cannot afford 3 square meals a day. Yes or no? Who cannot afford the very basics of life, such as a roof over their heads. Have you guys seen garibi, poverty? Yes or no? It's not very rare in our society. You simply have to move out of this classroom, this air-conditioned environment, and you will encounter poverty face to face. You will find homeless sleeping on the streets. You will find beggars shredding the last remaining, whatever is remaining of their dignity. Yes or no? You will find small kids who are sweating it out in scorching heat, asking for alms. Yes or no? Should such inequalities exist in the society? Or should I be subjected to indignities simply because of the accident of birth, because I was born in a certain lower caste? Should indignities be heaped on me, while some members of the same society be conferred a lot of respect, literally being equated with or considered as, representatives of God on earth? कौन? ब्राह्मण्स. ब्राह्मण देवता बोलते हैं. यस और नो? तो ब्राह्मण देवता के तो चरणों में लोग लेट जाते हैं, लौट जाते हैं. And then in the same society you have people who simply because they were born in an untouchable caste group, उनको समाज अछूत मानता है, not worthy of human touch. Yes or no? Having almost subhuman existence. Ambedkar has written about it. You know how when he was traveling on a bullock cart from one place to another, in the middle of that journey, in the middle of nowhere, the bullock cart owner asked them to get down when he came to know of their caste. And that is when he realized that, we are worse off than animals. Animals can be touched, but our touch will defile even an animal, will make impure even an animal. So should we have such indignities for some sections of the society and equating with divinity another segment of the same society? Or as a, should I be living in constant fear or violation of my bodily integrity? Fear sexual assault, that if I move out late or, slightly late in the evening, I may be sexually assaulted just because I am a woman. While men may roam the streets, do lafangagiri all they want to their heart's content without a worry. रात को 12 बजे 2 बजे चाय की दुकान पे, सिगरेट की दुकान पे, शराब की दुकान पे आदमी चिंता करता है? नहीं, कभी नहीं करता कि कोई गलत तरीके से छू देगा. पर लड़कियों को, महिलाओं को क्षण क्षण पब्लिक स्पेसेस में वो डर सताता है. यस और नो? होनी चाहिए क्या समाज में इनइक्वालिटी, या अ सिचुएशन ऑफ इक्वालिटी is preferable? Where do you stand? I'm not talking whether feasible or not, but what is morally more preferable, equality या inequality? How many of you would morally prefer a state of equality? Raise your hands. That's most of us. Overwhelming majority of us. If I may ask, why? Again, I don't want any sociological explanations or jargons. In simple, normal language, why do you prefer a state of equality in society? Sorry? No one deserves to be treated poorly or badly. One second. Online students, thanks a lot for your wishes. Yeah. He's saying that nobody deserves to be subjected to indignities. Okay, everybody deserves some modicum or basic level of respect as a human being. Brother? Inequality causes conflicts. clearly I will not like it if I am amongst the ranks of the disprivileged. So putting myself in their shoes, she says, I can empathize with them that it will not be a situation I would want to exist in the society. Brother? So if you have a situation of equality you are suggesting, then those who are deserving, without any impediments or without any, they'll be able to realize their full potential. Yes? Yes, Bitya? So I will be able to better and more fully express my individuality if its expression is not hampered by the prevailing inequalities. Very well put. Well, friends, so clearly, we all do share a very strong moral preference for equality. Bluntly, simply, it seems more fair, more simply, yeah? It's more just and more fair, huh? You treat others the way you would want to be treated, so you put yourself in other people's positions. Even if we keep morality aside, equality benefits the whole society. How? The economy will prosper. Brother? Everybody should have equal access to all resources. Brother? People must not be discriminated based on the accident of birth. Clearly, we all share a very strong moral preference for an egalitarian social order. Not just us. You and I, we are very ordinary people. This quest for the establishment of an egalitarian society is very old in human history. Since long, friends, since several centuries, and to be sure, since several centuries before the great Karl Marx, this notion of an egalitarian society is not original to Marx. He is, of course, its most prominent modern day proponent. But many thinkers and philosophers, many rulers and lawgivers, statesmen, poets have, cultivated this notion of, espoused this ideal of equality. Since thousands of years. People have written about it, explored its various dimensions, etc. Okay? But, tell me, friends, does an egalitarian society exist anywhere in the world? Let me take this question a step further. Has an egalitarian society ever existed in human history? Possibly not. It's a contradiction of sorts. For thousands of years, men have been on a quest to establish an egalitarian society. Yet, we seem to have never been able to establish one. Throughout human history, all societies have been characterized by stratification or some sort of inequality or the other. Also, friends, please appreciate, we need to be clear or careful when we talk about a society based on equality. What kind of equality are we really talking about? What do we mean by equality? In other words, this notion of equality can be understood in different ways. Thanks a lot. In different ways. Specifically, there are at least three notions of equality. One is what we call formal equality, या legal equality. Formal या legal equality. Meaning what? In the eyes of the law, all persons be treated equally. For example, if a man commits a murder or a woman commits a murder, if an upper caste commits a murder or a lower caste commits a murder, if a Hindu commits a murder or a Muslim commits a murder, if a rich person commits a murder or a poor person commits a murder, will they be subjected to the same set of laws and treated equally? In, say, our constitutional and legal framework in India? The answer is yes. Or whether a Brahmin is murdered or a Shudra is murdered. A man is murdered or a woman is murdered. Is the punishment the same? The answer is yes. And this notion of legal equality is also enshrined in our constitution. Modern constitutions in general have this notion, including our constitution. But it's not an obvious matter of fact. It is an accomplishment. To have attained legal equality is also an accomplishment. In the olden times, for instance, as per the then prevailing constitutional or legal framework, for example, allegedly in the Manusmriti, or the laws of Manu, right, which is an ancient law book of the Hindus, if a Brahmin commits a crime and a Shudra commits a crime, the punishment will be different. Are you with me? Or if a Brahmin is murdered and a Shudra is murdered, the punishment awarded will be different. In other words, back then there was formal inequality. Yes or no? But today we have formal equality. ठीक? It is explicitly, expressly provided in the Indian Constitution, Article 14, I suppose. What does it say? Can you the state shall not discriminate on the basis of only of caste, class, gender, etc. So 15 to 18 basically provide for equality. So that's a major accomplishment, clearly. We've come a long way. But are you satisfied with the accomplishment of formal या legal equality? क्या आपकी जो वो yearning for equality थी, that quest for equality which you were espousing, has that been met or satisfied? क्यों? क्या चाहिए आपको? So, another type of equality, okay, is equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity. मतलब कि all persons should have an equal chance to realize their full potential. All persons should have an equal chance to realize their full potential. ठीक. और थर्ड हो गई इक्वालिटी ऑफ आउटकम्स. इक्वालिटी ऑफ आउटकम्स. Simply understand it this way. Equality of opportunity would be that all persons have an equal chance or an equal opportunity to be able to earn 50,000 rupees a month, or to secure a job which pays them 50,000 bucks a month. Equality of outcomes kya hui? That at the end of the month, every person gets 50,000 bucks. ठीक है. So when you say that you, or when you voted for an egalitarian society or a society based on equality, which kind of equality did you have in mind? Was it formal or legal equality, या equality of opportunity, या equality of outcome? How many of you were satisfied with legal equality? It seems none. Then which of the two you want? Or how many of you want equality of outcome? That every person should have the same amount of power, prestige, paisa. Please raise your hands more fully, more surely. Don't worry about the number of hands being raised alongside you. ठीक है. So we do have some. But how many of you had in mind equality of opportunity? Most of you were in favor of, or are in favor of, equality of opportunity. सबको पूरा मौका मिलना चाहिए. अब उस मौके का वो फायदा उठाए ना उठाए, वो उसके ऊपर है. All people should have an equal chance to realize their full potential. Some. Now please appreciate, if in a society you have equality of opportunity, you will have in that society inequality in terms of outcomes. Yes or no? Simply, if the society makes it possible for all persons to be able to get a job worth 50,000, some will be able to get that job while others will have to be satisfied with less. For example, is there equality of opportunity in terms of preparing for the becoming a civil servant? But how many will become? Only a handful will become. ठीक? So the rest will have to make do with a social position which is of lesser prestige, power, etc. Yes or no? And if you take into account corrupt means of earning, then also paisa than civil servants. ठीक? So what is basically stratification that we are talking about? It is a form of inequality या hierarchy in society. Hierarchy in terms of power, prestige and पैसा. लिखो. Social stratification, use a shorthand SS. ठीक है? Social stratification refers to the presence of social groups ranked hierarchically one above the other in terms of different amounts of power, prestige and property, alliteration sake, anupras alankar, that their members possess. Social stratification refers to the presence of social groups ranked hierarchically, one above the other, in terms of different amounts of power, prestige and wealth that their members possess. ठीक? Full stop. Next para. Members of a strata may have common interests, comma, may share a common lifestyle, and may develop self-identification as members of that strata. As members of that strata. Full stop. What do we mean by common interest? Members of a strata may have common interests. We don't mean कि भैया आपको भी सुडोकू पसंद है, मुझे भी सुडोकू पसंद है. Not those kind of interests. We mean, say for example, do members of the working class have some common class interests? क्या? Yes, higher and higher wages, fewer working hours per day, छुट्टियां, and the works, perks, etc. These are the common interests of the working class. Likewise, do members of the capitalist class have some common interests? Kya? Profit maximization to keep the wages depressed and so on and so forth. Right? When we say that members of a strata may share a common lifestyle, meaning, see, a strata may develop what we call a subculture. The way of living of members of one strata will be different from that of others. For example, in my household, a certain baniya kind of khana will be cooked, which will be different from the kind of khana which is cooked in a Brahmin household, in a Jain household, in a Dalit household. Yes or no? So, in all Baniya households, you will find similar kind of food being cooked. In Dalit households, you will find another kind of food being cooked. In Brahmin households, another kind of food being cooked. Yes or no? And when we say that members of a strata may develop a self-identification as members of that strata. In other words, people would have, a sense of belonging to that particular strata. For example, by the end of this course, you will have heard it at least 50 times from my mouth that I belong to Baniya caste. Kyun? So I have a sense of identification with my caste. But it's not just me. Do you guys also have a sense of identification? A sense of awareness that you belong to your caste, whichever it is? Yes, you do. Yes or no? Okay, so members of a strata may share common interests, may share common lifestyle, and may develop self-identification as members of that strata. Full stop. आगे लिखिए, next para. According to Melvin Tillman, social stratification, I'm just giving you some scholarly definitions. Till here it was a generic understanding. According to Melvin Tumen, social stratification refers to an arrangement of social groups into a hierarchy of positions that are unequal. That are unequal with regard to power, property, social evaluation. Social evaluation matlab how others see you, right? How others evaluate you. And psychic gratification. Psychic gratification. Psychic gratification means what? Matlab, some sort of a psychological satisfaction. That would also vary from one strata to another. For example, in general, in most societies, including ours, whom would you expect to have a greater level of, having a greater level of sense of self-worth, or, being self-assured that I am worthy of something? Men or women? Men. Why? People see them that way, and then, for example, women participate to a much lesser extent in economically productive activity. आदमी जब 4 पैसे कमा के लाता है तो उसकी एक सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ वर्थ डेवलप होती है. And fewer women are engaged in gainful employment outside of the home. So women are more, therefore likely to be taken in by self-doubt, feelings of inadequacy, lack of achievement, etc., or making any meaningful contribution, right? Compared to men. So men in that sense have more psychic gratification than women. Samajh gaya? Just as an example. Gilbert writes that Gilbert, social stratification is the division of society into permanent groups or categories. I repeat, social stratification is the division of society into permanent groups or categories linked with each other by relationships of superiority and subordination. Subordination. Relationships of superiority and subordination. Full stop. Okay? Scholars like Pitirim Sorokin or simply Sorokin, हाँ लिखते जाओ. Sorokin, Sorokin, contend that, argue that the unstratified society is a myth. Matlab it has never existed in the history of mankind. It has never existed. Throughout human history, all societies have been stratified or unequal. So friends, which kind of scholars, which theory would argue that social stratification is inevitable, that it is universal? Bilkul. So that brings us to the functional theory of social stratification. So functional theorists argue, friends, that social stratification is universal. Matlab, it's present in all societies. It is present in all societies. Also that it is inevitable. Matlab, there can be no society without stratification, yeah, simply inequality. And it is functional. I repeat, according to functional theorists, social stratification is universal, inevitable and functional. Functional matlab beneficial for the society. The society benefits somehow from the existence of inequality. ठीक? And one such scholar is Talcott Parsons. नया नाम नहीं है, मुबारक हो. Talcott Parsons. Before I get to Parsons, I ask you, forget Parsons, forget sociology. In this classroom, or in this whole world, are any two persons, any two, you pick up real brothers or real sisters, you pick up two persons sitting next to each other in the classroom, or you pick up one person here, another in America, okay, thousands of miles away or hundreds of miles away. Any two persons, are they same? In other words, between any two persons, one will be taller than the other. One will be more muscular than the other. Yes or no? One will be fairer than the other. One will be prettier or more beautiful, more attractive than the other. Yes or no? One will be more intelligent or capable than the other. Yes or no? तो एक से दो, कोई भी दो लोगों के बीच में एक दूसरे से ज्यादा शक्तिशाली होगा, बुद्धिमान होगा, सुंदर होगा, काबिल होगा या नहीं होगा? क्लियरली होगा. That is how nature has made us. Each different from the other. क्या कोई भी दो लोग फोटोकॉपी हैं एक दूसरे के? नहीं है. Clearly, then how can you have equality in the society? Are you with me? Simply, nature has made us unequal. Some people are endowed with greater of certain attributes, beauty, intelligence, muscular strength, height, whatever it is. Yes or no? So how can we even expect equality when nature itself has made us as fundamentally unequal? कुदरत ने हमें किसी को ज्यादा दिया है, किसी को कम. इसीलिए हमें समाज में भी इनइक्वालिटी ही दिखती है. ठीक है. Some such argument is developed by functional theorists. Parsons, for instance, he argues that every society is based on value consensus. If you recollect, so people agree upon the basics. They have shared norms and values in every society. Based upon these shared norms and values, every society identifies some collective goals to be achieved. Based on the shared norms and values, every society identifies the collective goals to be achieved. For example, American society. Parsons talks specifically about America. Now, American society is based on values of materialism. Okay? Materialism is one underlying value in American society. Based on that, a collective goal which has been identified by the American people is material progress, economic progress, material prosperity. ठीक? That is a collective goal of the American people based upon the underlying value of materialism. Now, people differ in terms of their skills and abilities. People differ in terms of their abilities. Meaning what? Some people contribute more to the attainment of the collective goals than others. Some people, some members of the society contribute more than others to the attainment of the collective goals. For example, if America, values materialism and economic productivity, right? They are striving for material prosperity, wealth creation. Who has greater skill, ability, intelligence to create wealth? Bill Gates, yeah, the average American. Bill Gates has made a greater contribution to wealth generation in American society than the average guy. ठीक? So the society rewards people based on their contribution to the attainment of collective goals. Society rewards people differently based on their contribution to the attainment of collective goals. Society rewards people accordingly. Accordingly matlab in accordance with the contribution they have made to the attainment of collective goals. Simply because Bill Gates has contributed greater to the collective goal of the American people, which is wealth creation, economic productivity, technological innovation. So the American society has rewarded him more than the average American in terms of greater power, greater prestige, greater wealth. ठीक? And it's not just, in modern societies or in economic terms. Consider, say, a very primitive social group, a tribal community living in the jungles. Say in the jungles of Africa, okay, or hundreds of years back. Such a society may value something like, they may not have this sense of material this thing, but they may value, for example, physical strength or bravery, say to ward off animal attacks or whatever. Are you with me? Since you are living in the lap of nature, it is necessary for the survival of the society that you can ward off wild animals. For that, such kind of a tribal primitive community is likely to value bravery and physical strength. So, some members of the tribe will be stronger, more courageous than the others. They will be contributing more to warding off animal attacks than the others. So the society will reward them. That person may be made the tribal chief. Or members of the society may bow down before him, according him greater respect. Because he has protected them more than the average guy. Yes or no? हर समाज की कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं. जो लोग उन एक्सपेक्टेशंस पे ज्यादा खरे उतरते हैं, उनको समाज ज्यादा पैसा, प्यार, इज्जत, पावर देता है. एंड लोगों की खरा उतरने की काबिलियत या एबिलिटी वेरी करती है. कोई कम कर पाता है, कोई ज्यादा कर पाता है. जो ज्यादा कर पाता है उसको समाज ज्यादा पैसा, पावर, इज्जत देगा. ठीक? This is Parsons' functional understanding of social stratification. Another functional theory of stratification is given by Kingsley Davis and Wilbert Moore. Kingsley Davis and Wilbert Moore. In where? I don't know, you'll have to tell me the specific context, so, or take it up later slightly, otherwise it will slightly disturb the flow of the lecture. So let us now try to appreciate Davis and Moore's theory of social stratification. This theory is important from the exam point of view. In the sense, it is a very detailed or elaborate theory. Matlab, if you get a 20 marker, you can simply fill it all up. On functional theory of stratification, you can simply fill it all up using Davis and Moore's view. It's quite elaborate. Secondly, it has been specifically asked a couple of times at the very least in the exam. Okay, so though they have not been mentioned by name in the syllabus, they have been asked by name in the exam, so that makes them exam wise important. तो ये तो करना ही है, याद भी रखना ही है. ठीक है? So Davis and Moore, their article, okay, in which they have elaborated their theory of stratification is titled Some Principles of Stratification. Some Principles of Stratification. Now, what they argue in this article, or first they begin with the observation that social stratification is universal. Social stratification is universal, matlab it is present in every known society. It exists in every society. Why does stratification exist in every society? Stratification, please appreciate, simply it is a fancier term for inequality or hierarchy in society. Unch neech. Why is stratification universal? Because it fulfills an important functional prerequisite. It fulfills a functional prerequisite. Have we heard this term earlier? Functional prerequisite, what does it mean? वो तो है क्या, आप बता रहे हो, होती क्या है? मतलब what does the word functional prerequisite mean? Which is so important that the society cannot exist without it. Certain tasks or functions which must be accomplished, must be performed for the society to be able to exist. Those are functional prerequisites. They are pre-required, if you recollect. So, social stratification is universal because it fulfills a functional prerequisite of effective role allocation and performance. It fulfills the functional prerequisite of effective role allocation and performance. What do we mean by effective role allocation and performance? Let us try to understand. Firstly, friends, there are various roles in the society. You have a very large number of roles, ranging from the role of the Prime Minister to the role of the peon, the role of the civil servant and the role of the teacher, the role of the soldier and the role of the accountant, and the role of the sweeper. There are a large number of roles in the society. You need, what do we mean? I'm explaining what we mean by effective role allocation and performance. All these diverse roles, they have to be filled. Matlab some person has to be assigned that job, somebody has to do it. चाहे वो sweeper का काम हो या प्रधानमंत्री का काम हो. Yes or no? So you need to assign people to all the various social roles that are there. Now some social roles, friends, are more important than others. Some social roles are functionally more important than others. More important means what? That the society is dependent to a greater extent on the performance of those roles. Simply, as an example, tell me, किसका काम सोसाइटी के लिए ज्यादा जरूरी है? Which role is functionally more important for the society? That of the Prime Minister or the peon? The Prime Minister. Yes or no? That is far more crucial and critical a role than that of a peon. ठीक है? So we need to find persons for all roles, and those roles which are more important, they will require more capable persons, more competent persons. Yes or no? The functionally more important roles require more competent persons. So various roles have to be filled by persons who have the competence or the ability. Dhanyavad. Also, friends, please appreciate these roles. See, we are trying to understand why there is social stratification. Why don't we give the same amount of respect to the Prime Minister and the peon? The same amount of power to the Prime Minister and the peon? Are you with me? So, for the performance of certain, the more important roles, it typically requires longer periods of preparation and training. The more important roles require longer periods of preparation training, and that training will have to be given, preparation will have to be done by those who are incumbent or occupying a certain role. Yes or no? Any requisite training for the performance of a role must be imparted. Simply, which role is more important, that of a doctor or a nurse? Doctor या सर्जन का काम ज्यादा जरूरी है than that of a nurse. इसीलिए डॉक्टर की पढ़ाई में more years लगेंगे. To become a doctor, it will take you typically longer, more arduous journey than to become a nurse. Right? Finally, friends, by effective role allocation and performance, we mean that people should be motivated to perform their roles diligently. उनमें उत्साह होना चाहिए, जोश होना चाहिए कि वो अपना काम जिम्मेवारी से, निष्ठा के साथ करें. So people must be motivated to perform their roles. ठीक? मतलब we need some mechanism to ensure effective role allocation and performance, yani to ensure that all roles are filled by the competent persons, where any training is required to perform the more important task, that training is given, and the people are kept motivated to perform their roles diligently. ठीक है? You need to match people's abilities with the social roles which are being assigned to them. हमें particularly for the more important roles, we need to identify and select more capable, more competent persons. Right? And this functional prerequisite of effective role allocation and performance is achieved by social stratification. The stratification system ensures that we are able to select the most competent persons for the more important social roles. How? Let us try to appreciate. What do we mean by social stratification? That some positions in society or some roles in society are accorded greater rewards. मतलब greater power, prestige and paisa than other social roles. Continuing with our example, the position of the Prime Minister is associated, or let us say civil servants, is associated with greater rewards in terms of greater prestige, power, paisa, than the position of a peon. Right? Now, when society attaches differential rewards to different social roles, meaning higher rewards to the more important roles, what will it do? It will motivate a large number of people to strive for which roles? the roles which are more highly rewarded. Simply, people will get motivated to strive for the higher the jobs where more rewards are attached. ठीक है? मतलब this will make available for those social roles a very large talent pool, and the society will then be able to select the most capable persons. Simply put, friends, why are you guys preparing for the job of the IAS? Peon की job की क्यों नहीं तैयारी कर रहे हो? What is motivating lakhs of students across India to prepare for the role of the IAS? Because there are higher rewards built into that position. Because IAS की समाज में ज्यादा इज्जत है, ज्यादा पावर है, ज्यादा पैसा है than a peon. Yes or no? So society को क्या मिल गया? A very wide or very large talent pool, from which it will select the most competent or the most capable persons. अगर IAS की और पियोन की इक्वल समाज में इज्जत होती, पैसा होता, पावर होती, तो क्या आप इसके लिए ट्राई करते? नहीं करते. आप कहते फिर मैं पियोन ही बन जाता हूं. यस और नो? क्यों मैं इतनी माथापच्ची करूंगा? Also appreciate, friends, these jobs, these roles which are more important for the society, they typically require long periods of training and preparation. Like you guys are doing, it will take you minimum, and I say minimum 2 to 5 years to enter the services and undergo your training. Yes or no? अभी शुरू की है, mid of this year. You will start appearing for the exam mid of next year, the result of which will be out in the mid of the year after that. 2 साल तो यही हो गए. अगर पहले अटेम्प्ट में क्लियर करते हो, फिर 1-2 साल की ट्रेनिंग और होगी. एंड अधिकतम बच्चे मल्टीपल अटेम्प्ट्स के बाद क्लियर करते हैं. ठीक है? तो हम जो सोच के आते हैं ना, 1 आध साल का खेल है, 1 आध साल का कोई खेल नहीं है. ठीक है? एंड now, during these long periods of preparation and training, you are incurring a loss of income. Yes or no? Look at the contemporaries who graduated alongside you, who have taken up jobs in the private sector. They have already started earning anywhere 30,000, 50,000 lakh rupees a month, which you could have also earned, but you are not earning. तो अगर 2 से 3 साल की ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हो, आपका कितना नुकसान हो गया? 50,000 रुपया महीना भी माने, 6 लाख रुपए साल, 2 साल का 12 लाख रुपए का आपका इनकम लॉस है. Yes or no? Forget the boarding and lodging expenses, etc., which are over and above. You guys are bearing that loss of income. Are you fools? No. You are very calculating, very rational persons. Why are you undertaking that loss? Because of the very high rewards built into the position of the IAS. So in your calculation, which is a very rational calculation, if you make the cut, if you get selected, all that loss will be made good. Yes or no? You will be far ahead of your college mates who are in private jobs in terms of dignity, power, prestige in the society. That is why you are taking a calculated risk. So the high rewards attached to these functionally more important social roles also compensate for the loss of income, which is undertaken during long periods of preparation and training. डॉक्टर की पढ़ाई कितने सालों करता है इंसान इसी तरह? यस और नो? एमबीबीएस करता है, फिर क्या करता है? एमडी करता है, और न जाने क्या क्या. ठीक है, पढ़ते पढ़ते ही बूढ़ा हो जाता है इंसान, है ना. नर्स बनना है, जल्दी से बन जाओगे, बट आप फिर भी कॉन्शियसली नर्स ना बन के यू स्पेंड सेवरल मोर ईयर्स टू बिकम अ डॉक्टर. व्हाई? बिकॉज ऑल दैट लॉस ऑफ इनकम विल बी मेड गुड वंस यू बिकम अ डॉक्टर. इसलिए भी हमें हाई रिवॉर्ड्स नेसेसरी हैं. अगर आईएएस और पियोन की सेम इज्जत होती तो क्या आप इतने साल प्रिपरेशन करते? बिल्कुल नहीं करते. राइट? ऑल्सो अप्रिशिएट फ्रेंड्स, these high rewards not only help to motivate people, at the stage of selection, but even once into their professional roles. Doctors, if you have observed or if you know any, do they have enjoy high rewards? समाज में उनकी बहुत इज्जत वगैरह है, पैसा इज्जत है. Do you see them working hard? Yes, they really, burn the midnight soil, even once into their profession. What keeps them motivated? It is the high rewards built into that social role. क्योंकि मुझे समाज इतनी इज्जत देता है, मुझे पैसा देता है, इसलिए मैं अपने काम को निष्ठापूर्वक करता हूं. Are you with me? So the high rewards ensure that incumbents remain motivated to perform their tasks diligently. The stratification system motivates people. Right? Also, friends, the stratification system serves to integrate the society. It integrates the society. Integration in what sense? Please appreciate. Those below, they start looking up to those who are above in the stratification system. They accept the directions and commands, the guidance, etc. of those above them. If you don't clear the exam, will you still look up to those who hold the position of an IAS? सलाम ठोकोगे नहीं ठोकोगे उनको? You will look up to them. Whatever they command, that will be obeyed by those below them. Yes or no? So this is necessary. Why? It ensures coordination in society. You require that people obey those who are in positions of authority. Yes? So those who are lower in the stratification system, they will obey those, they will look up to those who are above. Thereby ensuring cooperation, coordination and integration in society. Why will you look up to the IAS officers? Because you know that you have to really burn the midnight soil. Yes or no? You know that it requires a lot of mental strength, caliber to be able to reach that position. So this is the functional theory of Davis and Moore, that we require a mechanism for effective role allocation and performance. I'm just summarizing the whole theory. Meaning we require some way to ensure that or to match people's capabilities with the roles which are assigned to them in society. particularly those roles which are functionally more important. We need to select people with more competence or ability for those roles. Not everybody has the ability. Few people have the ability to perform those functionally important roles. In order to select them, we need to attach more power, prestige, paisa to the functionally more important roles. When you attach high rewards, these motivate a large number of people to strive for those functionally more important roles. So it makes available to the society a large talent pool from which to select. And the most capable persons, the most competent ones will then be chosen for these functionally more important roles. It will compensate them, high rewards also compensate them for the loss of income during longer periods of preparation and training. High rewards also keep them motivated to perform their roles diligently. High rewards, or the stratification system as a whole, serves as a mechanism for motivating people, serves as a mechanism for integrating the society. ठीक है? इसलिए stratification या inequality या hierarchy is necessary for every society. Not just modern society, not just rich society, every society. ठीक है? With that, we take a well-timed break. Please settle down. So tell me, friends, we've understood or we've become fairly acquainted with the functional theory of social stratification. टेबल पे रख दीजिएगा प्लीज, इसको भी नीचे मत रखना. सो कैसी लगी? What is your assessment? Are you in agreement with the functional theory that it is inevitable, that it is universal, and that it is greatly beneficial for the society? बताइए. Huh? How many of you are, should I say, satisfied with the arguments of the functional theorists? Raise your hands. How many of you are somewhat dissatisfied or in disagreement with the functional theory? Why? What is there to disagree? It sounds very logical, very coherently kind of arranged set of arguments. What is there to disagree? Yes, brother? Okay, build on that. So this stratification theory does not account for inherited disprivilege. Good. Brother? Because of stratification there is conflict. कैसा conflict? इसके हिसाब से तो इंटीग्रेशन और ना जाने क्या क्या. हाँ, नहीं तो कैसा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आपको दिखता है समाज में? Yeah, please continue. So you have caste-based conflicts. Bilkul, a very good example. Or class conflicts for that matter. Huh, brother? Where? Huh. People, so this theory assumes perfect kind of a scenario where everybody's capabilities are very perfectly matched with their social roles. In reality, people may get highly rewarded positions based on nepotism, this or that. Ghuskhori. Brother?
This theory says that more competent you can get for the more competent, higher post in society. But there are ceilings there for people of certain sections of the society.
So some sections of the society may be prevented. Yes, rising to the top or accessing the highly rewarded social roles. Bitya. Huh. Very good. So instead of enhancing cooperation, it can hinder it. Bilkul. Brother. Be louder, please. Bilkul. This theory doesn't take into account or ignores, frankly, the disabilities imposed by the stratification system itself. और तो क्या ही बात करें, but by the stratification system itself. Brother. हाँ तो ये तो कहते हैं बढ़िया है. हाँ. Okay, so what he's saying, there's some things may prevent people from exploring their full potential. Sorry? Equalities को justify करती है from a Marxist perspective, एक status quoist kind of a वो है. बिटिया. ये कह रही है नेचर ने हमें सेम ही बनाया है, अलग नहीं बनाया है. हम सेम चीजें खाते हैं, हम सेम तत्वों के बने हैं. डू यू अग्री विद दैट? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू वुड अग्री विद दैट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू? व्हाट शी इज सेइंग, दैट वी आर सेम, वी आर नॉट डिफरेंट, endowed by nature we are same. Or do you tend to agree more with the functional argument that nature has made us, somebody prettier than the other, or taller than the other, or more powerful than the other? Acha, she's saying that at some fundamental level we have some commonalities as human beings. We all have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and so on and so forth. So, उसी बेसिस पे हमें कुछ फंडामेंटल इक्वालिटी भी मिलनी चाहिए. गुड. Basic needs are the same. We all feel hungry, we all want to be loved, etc., etc., etc. Bitya. Downplays. It talks about more, external, people are as if totally externally driven. And it ignores the role of internal motivation or drive. बिल्कुल ठीक है. सो पॉइंट इज दैट यस, दिस टेंड्स टू justify inequalities in a very systematic manner. But then social stratification, or these theories of social stratification, have been subjected to numerous criticisms as well, as follows. I'll like to begin with the critique of Andre Bete. Andre Bete. किसके बेटे हैं ये? मिस्टर बेते के. Now, what Andre Bete argues, friends, that ध्यान से सुनिएगा, इनकी बड़ी, he's got a very, simple and powerful argument. What he says, functional theorists, they presume natural inequality. Functional theory of stratification is premised upon natural inequality. That somebody is taller or prettier and more intelligent or more powerful, right? Bete argues otherwise. Bete says nature has not made us unequal. Nature has made us all different. Nature has made us different, not unequal. लिख लो, फिर समझाता हूं. So, according to Bete, nature has made us different from each other. Natural differences, लिखो, natural differences are transformed into social inequalities through a social or cultural process. I repeat, natural differences are transformed into social inequalities through a social or cultural process. Meaning what? See, simply, you're right, functionalists, when you say no two people are same. Really, one is taller than the other, one is more muscular than the other, one is fairer than the other. But then again, so say between you and I, one of us is fairer or taller. But who is superior? Or what is more preferable? To have greater height or lesser height? To have fairer skin or darker skin? Who decides that? Society. So that's a social or cultural process. Are you with me? You look different than I do. But which of us is prettier or more attractive? Who decides that? Society. So we all have been created different from each other, clearly, by nature. But then, this is a socio-cultural process that in societies we regard certain attributes or qualities as desirable and others as less desirable, thereby creating a hierarchy or inequality. Are you with me? For example, which body is, or a person with which kind of body is superior? The one with a muscular body or a less muscular body? आप कौन होते हो बताने वाले? समाज बताएगा. And that will depend. For example, for men, a more muscular body may be considered as superior or more desirable. But amongst women, a more muscular body or a less muscular woman, possibly a more delicate and less muscular and vulnerable kind of a woman, weak, physically weaker woman may be considered as more attractive. Are you with me? Likewise, say skin color. Some of us are fairer than others. But then which kind of skin is preferable for one to have? A darker skin tone or a lighter skin tone? In our society, what is it? Fairness is equated with beauty, with loveliness, fair and lovely. Yes or no? In the US also, but please appreciate notions of beauty or what kind of color is desirable of one's skin. That can change. So, US has been a racist society. America. Right? African Americans, blacks have suffered discrimination, indignities. They have a history of it. There was slavery or na jaane kya kya. Continues to this day. Now, in the US, which is a racist society, fair skin was associated or considered more desirable than dark colored skin. Right? Fairness was equated with beauty and desirability, while blackness of skin was associated with being less desirable or less attractive. But then there was this black power movement. There was a civil rights awakening and striving for civil rights under Martin Luther King Jr., etc. in about mid-20th century in the US. So they gave the slogan, black is beautiful. Black is beautiful. And that somewhat led to altering of the societal perceptions of beauty or attractiveness. Thereafter, over a period of time, you had, for example, earlier supermodels in the US were all Caucasian, white skinned. Then you started having, after the Black Power movement, black supermodels like Naomi Campbell. ठीक है? और भी होंगी, मुझे एक ही पता है. ठीक है? But the black skin tone also came to be seen as desirable and उनके यहाँ बहुत चलता है tan होना चाहिए. ठीक है? तो बहुत सारे इंडियन लोग जाते हैं, वो कहते हैं यार हमारा तो tan ही tan है. And that really appeals to the Goras. Okay. But point is that what is desirable or what is less desirable, what is superior and what is inferior, this gradation of qualities, nature has endowed us with different qualities. But the gradation of qualities is a socio-cultural process. So nature has not made us unequal, it has made us only different. Societies create inequalities. ठीक? I said nature makes people different, not unequal. I have already dictated that natural differences are created into or transformed into social inequalities through a socio-cultural process. Or simply, inequalities are created by societies, not by nature. ठीक? Rousseau. You remember Rousseau, fellow? Yes, the same Rousseau. Dhanyavad. So Rousseau, friends, he contends that whatever inequalities are, nature given, right? Natural inequalities. Let us say, you have a stronger body than mine, or you are more intelligent than I am, और ये कुदरत ने बनाया है, ठीक है? But these natural inequalities, you are taller than me also, more beautiful than me also, more intelligent than me also, more gifted and whatever, more talented than me also, everything. You have a more surreally voice than me also, and so on and so forth. ठीक है? सारे गुण कुदरत ने आपके अंदर डाल दिए और मेरे अंदर नहीं डाले. But these natural inequalities, Rousseau argues, are relatively small and unimportant. Natural inequalities are relatively small and unimportant. मतलब they do not necessarily reflect in social inequality. Social inequalities are not an outcome of natural inequalities, simply. Bluntly मुझे ये बताओ ना कि are the richest people also the most intelligent? Are the rich? Or can there be more intelligent people in the lower strata than the rich? Or the most, intelligent or the most beautiful or the most, whatever, powerful, or the tallest, or whatever. Whatever nature has made us different, does that really explain social inequalities, yani differences in wealth and power and prestige? क्या मुकेश अंबानी सबसे सुंदर है? क्लियरली नॉट, विजिबली नॉट. क्या वो सबसे इंटेलिजेंट है एटसेट्रा? देयर पॉसिबली इन हिज ओन ऑफिस देयर मे बी मेनी मोर वेरी गिफ्टेड, वेरी इंटेलिजेंट, बिजनेस एक्यूमेंट, सब कुछ होगा उनके पास. सो व्हाट एक्सप्लेन्स सोशल इनइक्वालिटी इफ नॉट नेचुरल इनइक्वालिटी? द एक्सीडेंट ऑफ बर्थ. Why is Mukesh Ambani where he is? Because he was born in the Ambani household. Is Rahul Gandhi better example? The most capable politician. Whatever it takes to reach the top in politics. Now politics is a mad world, right? Dog eat dog world. So is he the most, whatever it takes kind of a politician? Clearly, within the Congress party, you will find far more capable, politically capable persons than Rahul Gandhi. But why is he at the top? Because he was born in the right family. Yes or no? So simply, social inequalities are not necessarily a reflection of natural inequalities. Right? Also, friends, another criticism would be that the functional theory of stratification ignores exploitation and oppression. which is caused by the stratification system. It ignores the exploitation and oppression, which is an outcome of or a result of stratification system. This is a very rosy picture that the functional theorists paint. सोसाइटी में इंटीग्रेशन है, सब मोटिवेटेड है ना? कौन थ्योरी बोलेगी ये? कॉन्फ्लिक्ट थ्योरी या मार्क्सिस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव? From a conflict perspective, functional theory of stratification ignores the oppression and exploitation. According to conflict theories, ये जो हैव्स और हैव नॉट्स का बंटवारा है, इज इट बेनिफिशियल? नहीं. हैव नॉट्स का खून चूस लेते हैं बुर्जुआ. यस और नो? मेल्विन ट्यूमेन he has outlined a very detailed point-by-point critique of Davis and Moore's theory of stratification. ठीक है? It's like a point-by-point rebuttal of whatever Davis and Moore argue in their paper titled Some Principles of Stratification. इसका पेपर नहीं है ये, डेविस एंड मूर का है, कहीं लिख लो. ठीक? मेल्विन ट्यूमेन criticizes Davis and Moore's theory point by point as follows. Now Davis and Moore की starting position क्या थी? उनकी starting argument थी that different social roles have different levels of importance for the society. So the functionally more important roles are associated with greater rewards. ठीक है? To attract more people. Tumen argues there is no objective way. There is no objective way to assess या compare the functional importance I repeat, there is no objective way to assess or compare the functional importance of different social roles. Meaning what, friends? That every role in its own way will be important for the society. For example, which role is functionally more important for the society? You tell me. The role of a soldier or the role of a CEO? दोनों का अपना अपना स्थान है समाज में. समाज को दोनों की काफी आवश्यकता है. Yes or no? The role of, say, auditors or the role of teachers, which is more important, or doctors, सबकी अपनी अपनी importance है. Or even within a given sphere, say, you tell me whose role is more important, that of, for the society, that of higher education teachers or primary school teachers. Higher education teachers, they equip you with skills, knowledge, so that you can participate in the economy, earn a livelihood. Yes or no? उसके लिए सक्षम बनाते हैं आपको higher education. प्राइमरी स्कूल टीचर्स के महत्व है. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस फ्रेंड्स, यू नो, अच्छा, विच ऑफ द टू इज मोर रिवॉर्डेड बाय द सोसाइटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ मोर पावर, प्रेस्टीज, पैसा? हायर एजुकेशन टीचर्स कंपेयर टू प्राइमरी स्कूल टीचर्स. But does that mean that primary school teachers are contributing less to the society? One could always argue that their role is far more foundational. वो नींव रख रहे हैं समाज की, समाज के फ्यूचर की. Yes or no? So you really can't compare the functional importance of different social roles. एक ऑफिस में मैनेजर की ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस है या पियोन की, मतलब समाज के लिए, क्लीनर की, स्वीपर की? स्वीपर का रोल भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. यू नो व्हाट हैपेंस, दोज रोल्स विच आर मोर हाईली रिवॉर्डेड, वी अज्यूम देम टू बी मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. आपको लगता है मैनेजर की ज्यादा तनख्वाह है, ज्यादा इज्जत है, इसलिए उसका रोल ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, रादर देन इट बीइंग द अदर वे अराउंड. According to the theory, it should be that those roles which are more important should be more paid, better paid, or better, you know, more power, prestige. Are you with me? But the work of the sweeper or the cleaner is as important. If the sweepers don't clean the premises, say if they don't clean up here, can the teacher do his job? No. We can't sit in filth and, yes or no? So point is, friends, that different social roles have their own importance and you cannot objectively compare the societal contribution or functional importance of different social roles. कहते हैं मेल्विन ट्यूमेन. ठीक. सेकेंडली, मे आई, डेविस एंड मोर क्या कहते हैं कि we need to, you know, for the functionally more important social roles, we need to identify the people with the competence. Few people have those abilities to perform the functionally more important roles. Right? ट्यूमेन क्या कहते हैं कि मतलब समाज में कुछ, you know, according to Davis and Moore, कुछ ही लोग हैं जो काबिलियत रखते हैं फंक्शनली इंपॉर्टेंट रोल्स को निभाने की या कर पाने की. ट्यूमेन क्या कहते हैं, दैट द टैलेंट पूल इन द सोसाइटी में बी फार वाइडर. मतलब डिफरेंशियल रिवॉर्ड्स और हाई रिवॉर्ड्स मे नॉट बी नेसेसरी टू अट्रैक्ट. द रिक्वायर्ड टैलेंट. I repeat, according to Tumen, the talent pool in the society may be far larger, much larger than what Davis and Moore assume. Davis and Moore क्या मानते हैं, कुछ ही लोगों, कुछ, you know, DM की नौकरी, IAS की नौकरी बहुत आवश्यक है समाज के लिए. The role that IAS performs is very important. And very few people in Indian society have that caliber that they can bear this mantle. So we need to identify those people. We need to motivate lakhs and lakhs of people so that we can identify those persons with caliber to take on this mantle of the job of an IAS officer. ठीक है? इसलिए हमने इस जॉब को इतना बढ़ा चढ़ा दिया है, इतना सराखों पे रख दिया है इन टर्म्स ऑफ इज्जत, पावर, पैसा. ट्यूमेन क्या कह रहा है कि भैया इन अ कंट्री ऑफ 130+ करोड़ पीपल, कितने आईएएस चाहिए आपको? 100, 200? क्या इस 130 करोड़ के देश में केवल 200 ही ऐसे लोग हैं जो वो काम संभाल सकते हैं? पॉसिबली फार मेनी मोर. Tens of thousands, if not lakhs of people may have those abilities to perform this role. Yes or no? तो फिर क्यों हम आईएएस को इतना हवा में चढ़ा के रखते हैं. In other words, why then such high rewards may not be justified. Lesser भी rewards होंगे तो it will attract. ये नहीं है कि इस समाज में ऐसे बस 100 ही हीरे हैं जो आईएएस की गद्दी संभाल सकते हैं. Are you with me? Thirdly, write out quickly. Thirdly, Davis and Moore ने क्या कहा था कि these functionally more important roles, they typically require longer periods of preparation training during which the guy has a loss of income which is compensated by the high rewards. To compensate for the loss of income, we need to attach high rewards to these positions. Tumen क्या कहते हैं? That these long periods of preparation and training may have their own benefits. So, high rewards may not be required as compensation. Long periods of preparation and training has its own rewards. Has its own rewards. So compensation may not be required. Simply, हमने क्या कैलकुलेट किया था? How much are you losing? 12 lakh in 2 years at 50,000 bucks a month. Right? What your contemporaries straight out of college who are working in the private sector, they are earning. इसलिए डेविस एंड मोर ने कहा हमें आपको अट्रैक्ट करना है, 12 लाख के लिए कॉम्पनसेट करना है, इसलिए हम आईएएस की पोजीशन को इतना बड़ा चढ़ा रहे हैं. But this long periods of preparation and training, do you have any benefits or advantage over your contemporaries who are in the corporate sector? क्या? Yes, you're gaining knowledge. Your horizons are widening. Yes or no? जीवन में ऐसे ऐसे तरीके जो कभी सोचा नहीं था, अब वो दिमाग खुल रहा है. नए नए सोचने के नजरिए आप अक्वायर कर रहे हो. पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है. Yes or no? You have all the time in the world to philosophize or delve into the deeper mysteries of life. आप वेले हो. You are not bound by a 10 to 9 kind of a job office schedule. You don't have to bear with office politics. You don't have to bear with managing money and the responsibilities which come with it. Yes or no? आप ऐश कर रहे हो. ठीक है, जो आपके ऑफिस गोइंग कंटेम्पररीज नहीं कर रहे, वो पिस रहे हैं. तो समाज क्यों आपको कॉम्पनसेट करे इन टर्म्स ऑफ आपकी आरती उतारे अगर आप आईएएस बन जाओ. ठीक है, एवं ही हमने इनको इतना चढ़ा रखा है. चलो माना, इवन इफ फॉर अ मोमेंट वी कंसीड दैट दिस लॉस ऑफ इनकम विच यू आर अंडरटेकिंग नीड्स टू बी कॉम्पनसेटेड और मेड गुड. कितना हुआ आपका नुकसान? 12 लाख. इन अदर वर्ड्स वॉट दी सोसाइटी ओज टू यू. हाँ ठीक है, इन्फ्लेशन वगैरह करके हम 12.5 लाख मान लो, 13 मान लो, 12 lakhs you have is your loss of income, so society needs to make good that much. मतलब point is friends, any such loss of income can be made good within the first few years of service. Why should we attach high rewards throughout one's career? Simply, society needs to pay you say 30,000 per month or 50,000 per month extra for 2 years. Yeah, 30,000 per month money and 20,000 worth izzat for 2 years. Are you with me? But how are high rewards associated with this position of IAS throughout your career justified? Are you with me? तो ये बात कौन बोले? Melvin Tumen. I repeat that any loss of income can be compensated for. Any loss of income during the long years of training wala can be compensated for in the initial years of service. Service as in not civil service necessarily, whatever of your professional life. Okay? So, high rewards throughout the career may not be justified. ठीक? डेविस एंड मूअर क्या कहते हैं कि जो हाई रिवॉर्ड्स होते हैं वो मोटिवेट करते हैं. हाई रिवॉर्ड्स अटैच टू द फंक्शनली मोर इंपॉर्टेंट रोल्स मोटिवेट. यस और नो? डेविस एंड मूअर कहते हैं भैया स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन सिस्टम मोटिवेट नहीं करता, उल्टा डीमोटिवेट करता है. डीमोटिवेट करता है. Who? Those who are in the lower strata. Sorry? I am saying that those in the lower strata are demotivated. So they are unable to realize their full potential. Simply you guys. You are which strata? हाँ? कोई लोअर वोअर नहीं हो. अपर स्ट्राटा, अपर मिडल स्ट्राटा से हो. बल्क ऑफ अस, वी लाइक टू आइडेंटिफाई आवरसेल्व्स विद द मिडिल क्लास, बट बल्क ऑफ अस बिलोंग टू अपर मिडिल क्लास या अपर क्लास. ऑब्जेक्टिवली स्पीकिंग, इन इंडिया फ्रेंड्स, इट डज नॉट टेक मच और इट डज नॉट टेक अ लॉट ऑफ मनी टू बी in the upper echelons of the society. Without a doubt, most of us belong to the much privileged sections of the society. मतलब आप कौन से तबके से आते हो? Those who can afford to not earn for long periods of time in the prime of their youth. Yes or no? Who can afford to devote themselves fully to preparation of this exam with very high levels of uncertainty. आप लोग जुआ खेल रहे हो, वो जुआ खेलने का पैसा आपके पास है. Yes or no? बट जिसके पास नहीं है, he cannot even dream to become a civil servant. If my family background, if my father is a brick kiln worker, if my father is a rickshaw puller, can I afford to not earn for 3 years, 4 years, 6 years in my 20s? I can't. So what will I do? I will lower my expectations from society, from life, and I will become a rickshaw puller. Are you with me? So I'll be compelled to ply the rickshaw to earn my daily livelihood. Yes or no? So those in the lower strata will be demotivated because they have been denied opportunities by the society. डेविस एंड मूअर क्या कहते हैं कि the stratification system helps to select the most capable persons for the functionally more important jobs. जो हीरे होंगे ना वो हम चुन लेंगे समाज में से और उनको बना देंगे आईएएस या आईपीएस या आईएफएस या आईआरएस. Yes or no? But does it really help you to select the most capable or competent persons? No. Do you acknowledge there may be persons with greater ability, more capacity for hard work, etc. than you amongst the lower classes? Yes or no? But those from belonging to the lower strata irrespective of high caliber or ability or intelligence, they will not get selected as civil servants. Yes or no? तो हम किसको सिलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, बेस्ट को या सेकंड बेस्ट को? हमने अपना फॉर द फंक्शनली मोर इंपॉर्टेंट जॉब्स विच रिक्वायर लॉन्ग पीरियड्स ऑफ ट्रेनिंग, क्या गरीब का बच्चा डॉक्टर या आईएएस बन सकता है? बहुत कठिन है. थ्योरेटिकली ओपन है मैडम, ठीक है, बहुत कठिन है. मेडिकल कॉलेज की फीस देने के लिए मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, बच्चे को एक्सपेंसिव कोचिंग कराने के लिए मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है, दिल्ली शहर में जाके भेज के पढ़ने के लिए कमरा लेके 15,000 रुपए का जीवन के लिए पैसे नहीं है. मेरा बच्चा बहुत काबिल है. सॉरी, 20,000. हाँ, यू कैन अफोर्ड इट, यू बिलोंग टू दैट स्ट्राटा, राइट? एंड दोज हु कांट, whatever be the capabilities of the persons in those lower strata, they will be not selected. Yes or no? So we are not selecting the most capable persons thanks to the stratification system. जो lower strata में talent है वो मर रहा है, waste हो रहा है, rather than being harnessed, instead of being harnessed. Prevents the selection of the most competent persons या most able persons for the functionally most important roles. I repeat, the stratification system prevents the selection of the most able persons for the functionally most important roles. Full stop. Particularly, those with talent and ability, those with talent and ability in the lower strata, are denied opportunity to realize their full potential. To realize their full potential. तो ये तो चाहिए मुझे, इसका क्या करूं फिर? Why did this happen? I wonder. चलिए लिखिए, अभी we are not done. Those in the lower strata are denied or prevented from realizing their full potential. ठीक है? Finally friends, finally मतलब मेल्विन ट्यूमन का फाइनली, क्लास का नहीं. फाइनली ट्यूमन, क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? डेविस एंड मोर. डेविस एंड मोर आर्ग्यू व्हाट? That stratification serves as a device for integration. Yes or no? Everybody will salam thoko those at the top. It will ensure coordination, integration in society. Tuman points out that instead of an integrating force, it is a divisive force. Stratification is a divisive force. It divides. Do you look up? Those in the lower strata, do they look up to those above? कि भैया जैसे ही बताएंगे हम करेंगे. नहीं, मन करता है मुंह तोड़ दें. सारे privileges कॉर्नर करके बैठे हैं. Yes or no? Denying us basic necessities. Us मतलब those in the lower strata. So instead of integrating the society, it divides the society. Those in the lower strata will never have full commitment to this kind of a society. Those in the lower strata will never be fully committed. Why? Because, they will always view the society with suspicion or mistrust. Because the society has literally handed them a raw deal. उनको लगेगा हमें समाज ने, किस्मत ने, भगवान ने, जो भी कह लो, चूना लगाया है। ठीक? तो ऐसी सामाजिक व्यवस्था पे कभी हमारा विश्वास नहीं होगा कि ये सही है, जस्ट है, फेयर है, रीजनेबल है, या व्हाटएवर। तो क्या करेंगे हम लोग इवेंचुअली? बढ़िया सा ब्लडी रेवोल्यूशन। वो मार्क्स कहता है, ट्यूमन नहीं, ठीक है। बट दिस इज द इम्प्लीकेशन दैट इट इज नॉट एन इंटीग्रेटिंग डिवाइस, इट इज अ डिवाइसिव फोर्स। ठीक है? सो दिस इज ट्यूमन्स क्रिटिक ऑफ, रादर डिटेल्ड क्रिटिक ऑफ Davis and Moore's theory of stratification, functional theory of stratification. We have analyzed one aspect or one claim of the functional theory from the critical perspective, that it is functional for the society. Let us look at their other claim, which is whether it is universal. Is stratification, acha, hai nahi, koi nahi, I'm speaking. Now we will investigate the other claim, whether social stratification is universal. What is your sense, friends? Is social stratification universal या not? Or are the functional, so the functionalists are right or wrong on this count, that it exists in every society? What's your sense? It did not exist during primitive communism, he claims. Brother? Monarchy. So? So it is a stratified society. Why only monarchy? Even democracies, don't they have stratification? Some people, Modi ji is far more powerful than I am. Yes or no? Brother?
It is present everywhere, but everywhere it is not equally rigid.
It is not equally rigid. Point well taken. There is what? Stratification is universal. ठीक है. So from very olden thinkers like Pareto to the latest ones like Harare, there is seems to be some sort of a consensus that it is in all societies. Brother? Sorry? Division of labor is? So you're saying division, hierarchy is an automatic outcome of division of labor, so therefore it is universal. Chaliye, let us try to assess whether social stratification is inevitable and universal or not by looking into some societies where one would expect to find equality. Okay? Beginning with the kibbutz in Israel. We've talked about it, right? Kibbutz. Kibbutz. So in the kibbutz system, all the means of production, if I may use Marx's bhasha, or what should I say, the productive forces are communally owned, are owned by the whole community. Okay? In the kibbutz, there is no notion of private property. In the kibbutz, the distribution is based on the principle of from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. Based on the dictum, the distribution is based on from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. In other words, inequalities of wealth are absent in the kibbutz. Simply, inequalities of wealth are absent in the kibbutz. So, is the kibbutz at least one example of an egalitarian society? A study was conducted to investigate this by Eva Rosenfeld. EVA Rosenfeld. ROSEN. ROSEN, N for Nagaland. FELD. Father, England, love, director. ठीक है? नहीं, I was giving you the letters, the words with the letters. Eva Rosenfeld. Okay? Eva Rosenfeld conducted a study of the kibbutz, and she found that though there is no notion of private property, there are two clearly identifiable strata in the kibbutz. There are two clearly identifiable strata in the kibbutz. You have one strata of, yes, I said there are two clearly identifiable strata in the kibbutz, according to Rosenfeld. One strata is that of leader managers. Leader managers. They constitute one strata, and the other strata is of the ordinary members of the kibbutz. Ordinary members of the kibbutz. Now, the leader managers, they were not richer because there is no notion of private property. They were not wealthier, but they did enjoy greater power and prestige than the ordinary members of the kibbutz. क्यों? साफ बात है, काम निकलवाना है. अगर आपको किसी से काम निकलवाना है तो जिसको काम निकलवाना है, he will have to command greater authority. Otherwise, how will people listen to him, those below him? Are you with me? So, the position of the leader manager was associated with greater power and prestige. Clear? Another example let us take. The Eastern Bloc countries during the Cold War period. Eastern Bloc countries during the Cold War period. The Soviet Bloc countries during Cold War. Now these societies were also based along Marxist principles. Were they egalitarian? The answer is no. Several studies by scholars such as Frank Parkin, FRANK, Parkin, पार्किंग वर्ड लिखो, उसमें से जी हटा दो, पार्किन, फ्रैंक पार्किन, scholars like Frank Parkin and Milovan Jilas, MILOVAN, N for Nagaland, MILOVAN, Jilas, DJ, हाँ D साइलेंट था थोड़ा, Milovan Jilas, MILOVAN, DJILAS, क्या हो गया ना? Argue that there are clearly identifiable strata. There were clearly identifiable strata in the Eastern Bloc countries as well. I'll briefly elaborate on Gilas's views. Okay, so Gilas, basically, he was a very interesting fellow. He was a former president of Yugoslavia. He was a communist, committed communist. Also became the president of Yugoslavia, which was an Eastern Bloc country during the Cold War period. He tried to reform communism from within in Yugoslavia, for which he was ousted from power. Later on, he became a dissident. He wrote a book titled The New Class. New Class. In this book, Gilas argues that a new class rules in the Eastern Bloc, which is more exploitative, more oppressive than the bourgeois in the West. A new class rules in the Eastern Bloc, which is more exploitative and more oppressive than the bourgeois in the capitalist West. Did I mention him earlier? Gilas? Not the name, but the bath I discussed. So his argument was, in the West you have countervailing powers, or power is dispersed, political power with the politicians and economic power with the businesses, etc. And then you have civil society organizations, consumer or protection bodies, media, opposition parties. So there are a lot of checks and balances. But in the Eastern Bloc, those who control the party machinery, they are all powerful. And they are using this power to serve their own interests. The regimes are totalitarian, enjoying unchecked total power. Okay? After this book, Gilas was sentenced to another 7 years in prison. He was already serving a 3-year prison term. And not for corruption, misgovernance or any such thing, but for ideological dissent. So in the communist regimes, there was a lot of thought control, ideological indoctrination, no countervailing powers, etc. In other words, long story short, that even in the Eastern Bloc, you had social stratification. Meaning what, friends? That merely doing away with inequalities of wealth may not result in an egalitarian society. Only the abolition of private property may not establish full equality in the society. Sorry? I said that only abolition of wealth inequalities, private property, may not be sufficient to establish an egalitarian society. Theek? And I think it was Harlambos where I read, it had a very beautiful line which said that just because the egalitarian society has not been established does not mean that societies should stop striving for it. ठीक है? चलिए, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.